In this video today, we're going to be talking about college football coaches that will get fired and won't get fired, Big 12 edition. Yesterday, I done the ACC and the SEC. A few days ago, I did the Big 10. So today, we're going to be doing the Big 12. Same rules apply. I name each team, and coaches, I'll say, if I tell you they will get fired and won't get fired, it's a continuation of the last three. Sorry about that. But anyway, let's get to the teams. Okay, BYU, Kalani Sitake. No, he's not getting fired. I think Sitake is one of the greatest coaches in the country. He has had nothing but tremendous, great success at BYU. They're sitting at 8-1 and they did recently lose to Texas Tech. They're one of the top contenders for the Big 12 championship and could potentially get into the playoffs. Could they get into the playoffs? It's a possibility. But Sitake, I don't see him getting fired. He's done a great job. I could see a bigger program like a UCLA who could hire Kalani Sitake. I think he'd be a good fit at UCLA, in my opinion. But I don't see him getting fired. Now, the next team is Texas Tech, Joey McGuire. He's not getting fired. He's sitting at 8-1. They've only lost one game, Arizona State. They're the best team in the Big 12. They're the team who could win the Big 12. They're the team who could make the playoffs and possibly play really good in the playoffs. They have one of the best transfer portal classes in the Big 12 and in the nation. So Joey McGuire has taken Texas Tech to heights they haven't seen in years. And Texas Tech could win the Big 12 and make the playoffs. And I think they will. They're the best team in the country. One of the best teams in the country. I think they can probably pull off a win in the playoffs. So Joey McGuire's not getting fired. Next team is Cincinnati's head coach, Scott Satterfield. Yes, he was originally one of the coaches to be on the hot seat this year if Cincinnati don't make a bowl game. But it seems like his name has been taken off the hot seat, and I don't think he's getting fired this year. Cincinnati's been playing better football, 7-2. They could still potentially win the Big 12. Could they make the playoffs? Maybe, but we'll just have to see. Brandon Sorsby's a pretty good quarterback. They got some talent on this team. They can still play for a pretty good bowl game if they don't make the playoffs. They could still play for the Big 12 championship if they could stay alive. And possibly try to keep their playoff hopes alive. So Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati's not getting fired. Next team, Houston, Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz is not getting fired. Houston is playing better football. They're showing that, hey, they could be one of the best teams in the Big 12. They're 8-2. Yes, they had a questionable loss to West Virginia. I get that. They do have that loss to potentially Big 12 champions Texas Tech. They got some talent on the team too, especially offensively. Connor Wegman, the quarterback. Houston could still contend for the Big 12 championship. They could probably make the playoffs. We'll just have to see because this playoff picture, it's hard to say how it's going to turn out at the end of the year. But Willie Fritz is not getting fired. On to the next program. Utah, Kyle Whittingham. Let's face it, Whittingham's never getting fired. He'll likely retire at Utah, regardless if Utah's playing good football or not. And he's a great coach. He's had nothing but success since he took over at Utah for Urban Meyer in 2004. He's been there for 22 years. Had nothing but success. And with the talent with the players he gets, some turn out to be really good. They turn out to be pretty good players, and they win games. They've won the Pac-12. They've won some big games in the Pac-12. They were one of the best teams in the Pac-12, and they're showing that in the Big 12 right now. They could still contend for the Big 12 championship. They could still possibly make the playoffs. Kyle Whittingham's not getting fired. I'd see him retiring, which it's probably going to happen in the future anyway. On to the next team. Arizona State killing Kenny Dillingham. who I think is a pretty good coach. He's not getting fired. I like what he's been doing at Arizona State. They won the Big 12 last year. They made the playoffs last year. Came close to beating Texas. Just came up short. They're sitting at 6-3. Their playoff hopes are kind of dead. They can still make it to a pretty good bowl game. They can still possibly play in the Big 12 championship. Yes, they lost Cam Scatterbo. It does hurt. They do have the quarterback, Sam Levitt. He's pretty good. But I think Kenny Dillingham so far has done pretty good at Arizona State. But I do see a bigger program coming after Kenny Dillingham. Like Auburn, LSU, maybe UCLA, maybe Florida or something like that. I could see that happening, but I don't see him getting fired. So the next team is TCU, Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes is not getting fired. He just took them to the national championship 3 seasons ago. Yes, since then, TCU kind of has not been the same. They had a losing season in 2023. They won 9 games last year, had an improvement year. They're sitting at, 6-3, I think? And they're still a pretty decent team. Don't sleep on TCU on potentially contending for the Big 12 championship, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs. They could still be a pretty good team that's going to play with the big boys for the Big 12. But Sonny Dykes is not getting fired. TCU is still a solid program. On to the next team. Baylor, Dave Aranda. Now, I do see Dave Aranda getting fired. Yes, they had an 8-win season last year. That's pretty good from the previous season where they won 3 games. It seems like Baylor has regressed under Dave Aranda. They're sitting at 5-4. I think 5-5, something like that. Now, I do see Dave Aranda getting fired if Baylor wins less than 7 or 8 games. I say Dave Aranda will get fired because Baylor has been regressing in the past few years. Yes, they had that decent year, but I don't think that it's probably going to be enough to keep him at Baylor if they regress again. So Baylor's kind of not been the same since they played in the Big 12 title, since they won. But I could see Dave Aranda getting fired if he doesn't turn this program around. On to the next team. Kansas State, Chris Klieman. Chris Klieman, however you say it. He's not getting fired. Yes, Kansas State's having a down year. They're trying to keep their season alive and potentially go to a bowl game. Yes, this year has been disappointing. He's done really good at Kansas State since taking over from legendary Bill Snyder. Chris Klieman came from North Dakota State, one of the best FCS programs in the country. He's not getting fired. I could see a program like Penn State coming after Chris Klieman. Probably Wisconsin this year if they was not going to bring back Luke Fickell, which unfortunately they did. But I do see Chris Klieman sticking around at Kansas State unless a bigger program comes after him. Next coach is Kansas, Lance Leopold. He's built this Kansas program into possibly Big 12 contenders, contending for a bowl game. Yes, Kansas has regressed last year. Kansas regressed last year. And they're on the verge of trying to play for a bowl game or have another losing season. I mean, they got Jalen Daniels, who's really good, but Kansas needs to turn around this year to try to get back to a bowl game. But next year, if Kansas, he could be on the hot seat next year. Or more pressure will be built on Lance Leopold at Kansas if Kansas don't make bowl appearances and play for the Big 12 title. He's taking Kansas to new heights I haven't seen in years. The next coach, Arizona, Brett Brennan. It don't look like it right now. I mean, yeah, his first year was bad with all the talent they had. They're sitting at 6-3. They're playing for a bowl game. We'll see what he can do in year 2. And maybe they could build off of that from year 3. I mean, it's not a great hire when they hired him last year, but we're just going to have to see and go from there. With Brett Brennan at Arizona. The next program is Iowa State, Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell's not getting fired. He has had nothing but great success at Iowa State. And he was really successful at Toledo, one of the best group of 5 teams in the MAC. One of the best teams in the MAC. Last season, they've had their first 10 double-digit win season in program history. He's done great wonders at Iowa State, doing with what he can on the recruits he get. Yes, Iowa State's had a regressing year. They could still be a pretty decent 7-8 win team, bowl game team. He's done really well at Iowa State, but I do see another program with more money and resources coming after Matt Campbell, like your Penn State or Auburn or Florida or something like that. I could see them coming after Matt Campbell. Look at his resume, like Chris Kleeman. UCF, Scott Frost. No, they're not firing Scott Frost. They just rehired Scott Frost. They're not firing him. Yes, they're sitting with 4 wins. They're not having a good season right now. It's going to take time. He's got a new coaching staff. He just came back. We'll see how that goes. Start from year 2 onwards. We'll just have to see with UCF. Colorado, Coach Prime. Well, I think he might be on the hot seat next year. Yes, Colorado's sitting at 3-7. They have regressed since their season last year, winning 9 games. They have not been the same since Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter went to the NFL. I like Juju Lewis and Caden Salter, especially Juju Lewis. I think he could be really good, Julian Lewis. But Colorado does not recruit. They don't do a very good job in recruiting. They just like to go after the portal and just build their team from there. Nothing wrong with that, but you got to have a good balance of portal and recruiting. That's what Colorado and Deion and staff has lacked, is recruiting. They might get a couple good recruits here and there, but they just don't take advantage of it pretty aggressively. But Deion is not the best coach in the world. I mean, he could potentially be, but not this year at Colorado. I say pressure's going to be on him next year. But Deion is a teen mom with a gold whistle. What more can you say about him hasn't been said? So there'll probably be pressure on Deion next year. West Virginia, Rich Rod. No, they're not firing Rich Rod. They just rehired Rich Rod. Yes, West Virginia's not had a good year this year, 4-6. There's a chance they might win the last 2 games and play in a bowl game. There's a chance they may not. So West Virginia has 80 new players, a new coaching staff, a lot of injuries. So it's going to take a year 2 or year 3 for West Virginia to be back to the winning heights West Virginia once were. And I'm a West Virginia fan. We got to give Rich Rod time. Like when Rich Rod was there 20-some years ago. We got to give him time like we did before. That's how it is with Rich Rod. I have faith in Rich Rod. So, the next program is Oklahoma State. We don't know who their coach is going to be. They fired Mike Gundy, a legendary coach. He was one of them coaches who did not want to adapt and stuff like that. You could tell his days were numbered. You could tell he did not want to coach anymore. So we don't know who Oklahoma State's going to go after as a coach. And now Notre Dame, yes, Notre Dame's not in the conference. They're not firing Marcus Freeman. He just took them to the national championship. Yes, they lost to Ohio State. Yes, they're sitting at, 7-2? And Notre Dame can still get in the playoffs if things shake up. But we'll see what happens with Notre Dame this year. They're not firing Marcus Freeman. Yes, his name's been named to other coaching jobs. He claims he don't want that coaching job. So we're just going to have to see. So this is my video on Big 12 coaches that will get fired, won't get fired. Also included Notre Dame, which I forgot. Notre Dame in the ACC video. I just threw him in this video. But anyway, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Do what you got to do. And I got more videos coming.